Thank you for joining us today. And I'd just like to say hello out there. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our exciting webinar, Your Guide to Foreclosure Auctions, How to Successfully Bid and Win Foreclosure Properties. I'm Kelly Burns, the Director of Buyer Success at Auction.com, and I'm thrilled to be joined by our exceptional success specialist, Renee Spate, and one of our senior managers of buyer experience, David Lewis. Today, we're going to empower you with the knowledge and strategies to navigate the Auction.com platform like a pro. Whether you're a seasoned investor or taking your first steps into the world of auctions, we've got you covered. Our mission is to equip you with everything you need to confidently bid and win foreclosure properties. We want you to be an active participant, so please stay engaged. Submit your questions at any time, and we'll address them throughout and during our interactive Q&A session. So let's get ready. Let's dive right in and get started. So over to you, Renee.
Thank you, Kelly. Welcome, everyone, to our foreclosure webinar. I'm really excited about this one because it's near and dear to my heart. So let's quickly go over today's agenda so you know exactly what to expect. Let's get to know each other. We'll start by giving you a brief introduction to Auction.com, our platform, and how it can help you navigate the foreclosure market specifically. We'll talk about how it works. We'll provide an overview of how the foreclosure auction process, including key steps you'll need to follow to participate. We'll discuss some important auction terms and concepts that are essential to understanding before placing bids. And then after that, we'll walk you through the property details page on auction.com, where you can find critical information about each property, like its condition, auction time, and property status. We'll also share some bidding strategies to help you maximize your chances of winning at an auction and how to avoid common mistakes. And when you've hopefully won a property, we'll cover those next steps, such as finalizing your purchase, handling any post-auction responsibilities, and ensuring a smooth transition. And then finally, we will wrap up today with a Q&A session where you can ask any remaining questions or maybe find some clarification that you might need. We've got a lot of great information to cover today, so let's have fun and let's get started. So our mission is simple. We create better outcomes for neighborhoods, buyers, and sellers through transparency, technology, and care. And we're focused on three things: making the buying process both easier for buyers and sellers. We streamline the process to make it as smooth and accessible as possible for everyone involved. And we level the playing field and bring transparency to the entire process. Our platform ensures that everyone has access to the same information, making auction process fair for all participants involved. And we bring the most inventory. We've got over 25,000 properties listed, so we offer you a vast selection of opportunity as buyers. Okay, we've talked about what we do. Let's talk about what we don't do. This is very important. We don't own the properties we list. We're simply the marketplace connecting buyers and sellers. We don't set the property prices. Pricing is actually determined by the sellers and by market conditions, not by us, not by auction.com. And we don't buy the property. So our focus is on facilitating the sale process, not acquiring properties ourselves. So with these principles in mind, we're just committed to making your experience with auction.com efficient, transparent, and fair. Now let's walk through the typical timeline of a foreclosure process from default to auction, and then what happens afterward. So the process begins when the homeowner is unable to meet their mortgage payments, leading to a default. Once a default occurs, the lender or mortgage servicer takes action. They may appoint a trustee to handle that foreclosure process. Now, the lender can either work with a trustee firm, county sheriffs, master commissioners, clerks, or appoint auction.com to manage those foreclosure proceedings. Now, after the required legal steps, the property is placed up for auction. This is the stage where buyers like yourself can bid on the property to potentially win at the foreclosure sale. Now, if the property is sold to a winning bidder, hooray, the deed is executed and transferred to the new buyer. But if there's no winning bid, the property may revert back to the lender, also known as the beneficiary. And in this case, the process continues. So once the property reverts back to the lender, the bank may choose to list the property for sale online, often for with auction.com. And if you are interested in learning more about the bank-owned REO online auction process, I have good news. We have a pre-recorded webinar that we can make available to you. It will actually be linked in an email you'll receive later today. So this entire process, although a little complicated and may seem overwhelming, it really ensures that the foreclosure moves from homeowner in default to either a successful auction sale or reversion to the bank, with the potential for online resale later on. So understanding this timeline, it really helps you know when and where to engage in the auction process for the best opportunities. And it'll give you even more opportunities to win. Now let's go through the step-by-step process for participating in foreclosure auctions using auction.com, all the way through to in-person bidding. Step one, create an account, okay? First, you'll need to create an account on auction.com. And you can do this by visiting our website or downloading the app using that QR code shown here on the bottom left. This will allow you to browse available properties and set up notifications. Step two, search. Once your account is created, you can start searching for properties and you can filter by location, county, city, zip code, find properties in the areas that you're interested in. And then you'll want to set your preferences and save properties of interest. This is crucial because it personalizes your experience on auction.com. Our platform uses advanced machine learning algorithms to filter through properties right when they're listed and ensure that you receive the best property recommendations based on your specific criteria. Now, you can save properties that you're interested in to get real-time notifications about any changes, such as postponements, or even when the property is cleared for sale, which is great. Step four is due diligence. This is essential. It's essential to conduct your due diligence on any property before bidding. So on the property details page, you'll find photos, plat maps, title information, and other key details that will help you make an informed decision. And then you'll want to review the event details. That event details section includes crucial information like auction date, auction time, location, and this ensures you're fully prepared to participate in the auction when it happens. Step six, bring funds. The day of the auction, make sure you have your funds ready. Most auctions require a cashier's check for payment if you win, so bring the appropriate amount based on your bidding plan. Once at the designated location, such as the courthouse or online, you'll register to bid. Make sure to follow any registration requirements as they can vary depending on the location. And then step eight, our favorite step, bid and win. If you place the winning bid, congrats. Be prepared to pay the balance on the same day as the sale, which is often required. This finalizes your purchase and secures the property. So all these steps, this is the full process from creating an account on auction.com to successfully bidding and winning in person at a courthouse auction. Each step is designed to make the foreclosure auction process as smooth and transparent as possible. Now let's dive into the two main types of foreclosure auctions. We've got non-judicial sales. We've got judicial sales. It's important to understand the differences between these processes as they're going to affect how and where auctions are held. Now, non-judicial sales are conducted by a third-party agent, usually appointed by the seller or the lender. And auction.com often acts as the third-party agent or auctioneer in these types of sales. So these auctions can take place in various specified locations like courthouses or even ballrooms, depending on the state's regulations. On the other hand, judicial sales are conducted through the court system, and a court-appointed official, such as a judge or a sheriff, oversees that sale. And these typically occur at the county courthouse, and they might even take place on the courthouse steps or in a designated room within the building. So really, In summary, non-judicial sales are generally faster because they don't require court approval, while judicial sales involve the legal process, a little more involved in the legal process, especially with the courts, which that can take some more time, but it is mandatory in some states. So understanding these differences will help you prepare for the specific auction that you're participating in. Now let's take a look at the different property statuses you'll come across during the auction process. Active, scheduled for auction. Okay, this means the property is currently scheduled for auction, but the auction may be later postponed or canceled depending on changes. Now, active cleared for auction. That means the auction is scheduled and the property is cleared for sale. This means it's less likely to be postponed or canceled. Postponed, of course, means that the auction has been moved to a later date, and this could be due to the homeowner working with the lender to redeem the property or other reasons that require rescheduling. Of course, canceled means the auction has been called off, and this typically happens when the homeowner successfully redeems the property or the firm cancels the event. Now, sold, the property was successfully sold at an auction to a live bidder. And last but not least, reverted to beneficiary. The bidding didn't quite meet or exceed the credit bid, so the property is retained by the lender. And these kind of different statuses will help you track the property that you're interested in and ensure that you are prepared for changes as they happen. So make sure you're saving those properties to get these property status notifications. Let's go over some important auction terms and concepts that you'll need to know. As is condition, very important. Properties are sold without warranties. So as a buyer, you're responsible for repairs, evictions, and any maintenance needed after the purchase. Now, the initial bid, the opening bid, is the starting bid set by the lender or other court's official at the beginning of the auction. When a lender bids on a property at a foreclosure auction, this is the credit bid. It's the amount owed by the borrower. So as an investor, you'll need to outbid the lender's credit bid to win that property. And keep in mind that the lender's bid isn't always known or disclosed publicly. Now, Foreclosure Predict, this FCL Predict, it helps you identify foreclosure properties most likely to go to auction on their scheduled date, making it easier to find your next deal. We built this tool using years of experience, advanced data science, and machine learning algorithms to highlight the properties that are more likely to reach auction. So look out for this and the hot badge on properties marked by Foreclosure Predict on the properties detail page. The hot badge opportunities have a potential to have a higher return than similar properties. So we've talked about some great concepts, how everything works, judicial versus non-judicial, kind of the timeline of default. Now let's look at the property detail page. This is where you're going to find key information for any property you're interested in. So whether you're using the auction.com app on your mobile device or visiting the site on your desktop, this page is your go-to for property insights. So on the mobile app, on the left, the property details page gives you a quick overview with essential information like status of the property, opening bid, and any other important details at your fingertips. Now, on the desktop version on the right, you'll have access to more comprehensive data like price insights, estimated resale value, and comparable sales in the area. So look out for that FCL Predict badge, Foreclosure Predict, which indicates that the property is likely to go to auction. And to stay on top of those status updates, be sure to use the heart icon to save properties that you're interested in, and this will notify you of any status changes. Now that we've talked about property details page, let's take a closer look at the mobile experience. I love our app. On the mobile app, everything is designed to be easily accessible, like the market analysis tab. This provides valuable data such as the estimated resale value of the property, helping you gauge potential returns on investment. You're also going to find the estimated credit bid here, as long as it's disclosed. This is the amount the lender is owed on the property, and it's an important figure to know when planning your bidding strategy, even though, like I said, it may not always be disclosed. Now, the Property Details tab, this gives you a more in-depth view of the property specifications. So square footage, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, the year it was built, and the lot size. Continuing with the mobile experience, our app provides several features to keep you informed and organized throughout the auction process. So first, the Venue Details tab. This gives you important logistical information about the auction, okay? Date, time, location, what you need to bring, like government issued identification and cashier's checks. And this ensures that you're fully prepared when it's time to bid. Next, you'll find this live auction status tab. This helps you track the status of the properties you're watching. Remember, cleared for auction, pending, postponed, or canceled. This is where you can see whether those properties are cleared, keeping you up to date in real time. And then one of the most convenient features is the multiple views option. So you can choose to view all of the properties, or if you prefer, you can just focus on your saved properties. And this lets you streamline your tracking and focus on the listings that matter most to you. Okay, so this is a big one. If you're a new investor, you're likely wondering about the best ways to conduct due diligence before purchasing a property. So you got to know this. While we're not a due diligence company and can't provide specific advice, we recommend starting by consulting with a professional investor, title agent, or real estate attorney to guide your research. Many of our seasoned investors, they know exactly what to look for with just a quick county website search, and you'll get there too if you're new. But if you're just getting started, we highly, highly, highly recommend finding a good title company to explain to you exactly what to look out for as a potential new owner. And when you're seeking advice, discuss the properties that interest you and your investment goals, whether you're looking for a buy and hold strategy or a fix and flip approach. Experts can help you assess if the property aligns with your budget and your long-term goals. So here's some essential steps to help you get started. Drive by, get a sense of the property's exterior and neighborhood, but be sure to avoid disturbing tenants, of course. Conduct a title review. Always check for liens or ownership issues in a preliminary title report to ensure you're protected. We may get a lot of questions from people who didn't see this slide or joined late. If you have questions about liens, how to check for liens, conduct a title review with a title expert. Consult those local experts and connect with real estate professionals for valuable insights into the area. Look at the proximity to schools around, transit, new developments. All of those things can impact property value. And then, of course, estimate your costs because it's important to account for unknown interior conditions and budget for potential renovations. Now, the terms and conditions of the sale are going to be located in the property details page. So be sure to review the property details page under documents for important terms that may affect your purchase. And if you're checking zoning regulations, consult a real estate attorney about local zoning laws and landlord rules, especially if you plan to rent the property. Finally, review liability insurance. Ensure that you have adequate property and liability coverage, particularly for those rental properties. And also, in addition, by attending live auctions and joining local real estate investments associations, RIAs, you can network with other investors and experts and gain firsthand knowledge and insights into the process. We also can't stress enough, guys, that laws and regulations will vary by state and county. So it's essential to conduct a local legal professional so that you're informed about specific eviction processes or rental agreements if the property is occupied. But the more you learn and the more connections that you build, the smarter your investment decisions will be. So let's talk a little bit more about due diligence, specifically how to prepare for funding your purchase in person. This is a crucial step to ensure everything goes smoothly on auction day. First things first, how do I know how much to bring? Very common question. Bring the maximum amount that you're willing to spend on each property that you're interested in. We recommend bringing multiple cashier's checks in different amounts because this will give you the flexibility and ensure that you won't have to wait long for a refund if you overpay at the auction. Next, what happens after I pay? Well, you'll receive confirmation documents that include your basic details and the deed you selected. I'll show you how to set that up. Within approximately 30 to 45 days, you'll receive the deed by mail, along with any refund if applicable. If the final purchase price is lower than your cashier's check, the difference will be refunded to you. So that's why we recommend those multiple smaller increments. And don't forget, a cashier's check is required to place bids on auction day. And in some states, full payment may even be required at the auction. So always review the specific terms and conditions for your state to ensure that you're ready. All right, I talked a little bit about setting up your details for vesting for your deed. This is one of the most important bidding strategies. Once you've zeroed in on the properties you're interested in, you've saved them, you've completed your due diligence, you've done everything exactly as Renee told you to do. The next step is to set up your purchase profile. So this step is essential because it tells you how you want your vesting or ownership. This information will need to be handled before the auction. So you'll need to decide who's going to own this property. Will it be under your name, company, a partnership, maybe a trust? By setting up your purchase profile ahead of time, you'll save yourself time and avoid hassle by streamlining the purchase process. So even better, you can set up multiple purchase profiles. So if you do buy sometimes in your own name, or maybe with your spouse or with your partner, maybe sometimes under a trust, or maybe even under a 401k or a 1031 exchange, that's how you can set up these multiple purchase profiles. It's great. So to get started, simply go to the More section in your settings in your app and click on Purchase Profile. Add as many purchase profiles as you need. Just make sure that the vesting details are accurate because that's exactly what we'll need to send to the firm for the deed execution. It'll say vesting details, legal name for deed. Once your purchase profile is set up, you're ready to bid with confidence and finalize your ownership quickly after the auction. What's really great about setting up your purchase profile is that it unlocks special features, such as the ability to see remote bid, for example, on desktop if you are approved for remote bidding. Now, another great bidding strategy for maybe people who want to skip the auction or can't make it to the courthouse, we've got to work, we've got to be places. Traditionally, foreclosure auctions require in-person attendance, but now with remote bid, you can bid on properties from anywhere, right from your device. And this eliminates the need to be physically present at the auction, making the process far more convenient. A lot of my newer bidders love this. They get intimidated and overwhelmed at the sale. So remote bidding is a great option for them. You can set your maximum bid in advance, place your highest and best bid beforehand, and that ensures that you're competitive even if you can't monitor the auction in real time. It's great. You can also bid on multiple properties simultaneously. You can bid on them simultaneously in different states, different counties. Even as long as remote bid is available, you can expand your options even by bidding on properties across different locations all at the same time. So we've had this QR code here. I want to give you a couple of seconds here to learn more simply by scanning this QR code. If you're curious and you want to learn more, just find out about it, or even qualify for a remote bid. It's a really easy qualification process. Scan this QR code to get started and maybe talk to us about what your options would be for remote bidding if you're into it. Okay, so once you've won a property at auction, there are a few important steps to finalize ownership and possession. making payment. After winning, you'll need to submit your vesting details and make the payment at the auction if you're in person. The form of payment and amount due, and they all vary by county and state. Whatever amount is due does vary by county and state. Now, if you set up your purchase profile, you're good to go. Confirmation. You'll receive a receipt of sale on auction day, and if any changes are needed, you must notify the buyer success team within 48 hours. Don't worry, we'll give you our email inbox, our email address, so that you can contact us even before then with any questions. Deed. As the buyer, you're going to receive a deed typically within 30 to 45 days, and if applicable, a refund for any excess funds paid in person at the auction. This process is handled by the foreclosure attorney. Now, the buyer is responsible for obtaining possession of the property once the deed is finalized. So give it some time. Again, it takes 30 to 45 days. No keys. Please note, there are no keys provided, so you'll need to manage possession of the property directly once you have your deed. And of course, eviction, if applicable, if the property is occupied, you'll need to initiate an eviction process, legal eviction process, by contacting the sheriff to understand the local eviction procedures. So remember, follow up with the foreclosure attorney firm regarding deed status and refunds, and escalate if necessary after 30 days, because if changes to the deed are required within that 48-hour window of the sale, you can ping us, ping the buyer success team, call us, let us know, email. And otherwise, any changes will need to be made after the deed is recorded with the county. All right, so we're wrapping it up here. Let's quickly summarize some key takeaways from everything we've covered so far. So the foreclosure auction process happens in multiple stages. Okay, we've got pre-auction preparation, we've got live bidding, we've got post-auction procedures. We've walked you through each stage so you can confidently navigate the process. So whether you're bidding remotely or in person, understanding the steps will help you anticipate what's next and keep you ahead in the auction. Now, it's crucial to thoroughly research properties before placing any bids. So conducting effective due diligence is key. Auction.com provides various tools to help you make informed decisions. We've got those title reports if applicable, lien information if applicable, property detail page, but doing your research up front is key to minimizing risks and increasing your chances of a successful investment. So remember, due diligence is very important, and it is up to you to get that title report. We've also discussed some great bidding strategies to optimize your bidding experience. One of the most important ones is set up your purchase profile in advance to streamline the post-bid process and unlock those special features we talked about. But whether you're participating in person or remotely, knowing and setting your maximum bid in advance and staying disciplined can help you avoid common mistakes, such as overbidding or missing key auction updates. And winning the property is just the beginning. After the auction, you'll need to finalize the purchase, you'll need to manage the paperwork, and you'll need to address any issues with the property as the new owner, such as occupancy or any necessary repairs. But understanding the post-auction timeline will help you smoothly transition to ownership. Now, all of these key points will help you feel confident and be prepared to take part in the auction process. That's what we want. We want confidence and preparation. So I want to thank you all for attending today's session. We hope this webinar has given you a clear understanding of the foreclosure auction process and how auction.com can simplify your experience and help you succeed. But our buyer success team is always available to support you, answer any questions, or offer guidance as you navigate the auction process. So feel free to reach out to buyersuccess@auction.com. And we also have a great live chat feature directly on our site. So that's it. Let's open it up for questions, Kelly.
Okay. The first question, I think David covered some of them. I have a question about what determines if the foreclosure is judicial or non-judicial. So typically that's the state. So I'll take the state of New York, for example, is a judicial state, which means that you will go through when someone is going into foreclosure, it is initiated through one, where the property is located, so the county. The county then has to go through a legal process of doing a notice of default, which then is the legal process of trying to attempt to communicate with the homeowners to mitigate the sale from happening. And then a judge has to write off or say, yes, you have done all the things that you have done or you are supposed to do in order to proceed. So like, for example, like I said, the state of New York is a judicial state, but the state typically is what determines what's a non-judicial versus a judicial state. How do you determine before bidding if an eviction is probable if you win the bid? Kind of as Renee mentioned, this is part of your due diligence. So checking you don't have interior access to the property. So it's typically just trying to do drive-bys, trying to assess, looking at public record data to kind of get an idea whether or not the property is currently occupied or not, to then know whether or not you're going to have to go through an eviction process or not. We will have a copy, a recording will be provided of this webinar for everyone, whether you, when you registered, you will receive a copy of this if you couldn't stay the whole time. So that will be available to you post later today. If I want to bid and make my payment, does every a winning bid is canceled after payment is made? I'm not sure what the question is. If I win a bid and make my payment, does the winning bid cancel?
I think he's saying, does it ever occur that the winning bid is canceled after payment is made?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That can happen. So as Renee mentioned around the terms and conditions, there are possibilities that a property can be rescinded. And if the property is rescinded, that could mean that the homeowners were able to mitigate at the last minute. They either caught up on the loan, they did something that then had the trustee reach out and say, okay, we are needing to rescind that sale. If that takes place, they're going to reach out to you and they are going to return funds paid. It's quite a few questions. Closing costs included, added fees after winning the bid. That is also state specific. There are some additional recording fees for certain states. There might be ad valorem taxes in certain states. This is also part of your due diligence and just trying to understand the terms of a sale in any state that you might have interest in. I will say you see a lot more of the ad valorem taxes in most of your judicial states because there are additional court fees that go with trying to confirm the sale through the court system. So that's where, again, making sure that you understand the terms of a foreclosure sale in a particular state to make sure that you have considered all additional costs post-sale. But generally, it's not like a traditional real estate transaction, so you're not going to have closing costs, etc. You will have additional potential fees tied to the courts. If you're bidding online, what is the payment method? Most often, for example, if Renee mentioned around remote bidding, if you're interested to participate in a foreclosure sale where there is remote bidding eligible, you'll see that one on the PDP or the property details page. And secondly, it will be in a form of a wire. So you will fund your escrow account. So you'll have an escrow set up. you will fund that per whatever the statutory requirement is. So if you're bidding in the state of Texas, for example, then that is a state that requires full funds due at time of sale. So if you are declared the winning bidder, the full amount is due immediately upon you being declared the winning bidder. So if you are bidding remotely, then you would wire the full fund, the full amount that you're willing to spend on that property into the account, or properties if you're bidding on multiple. Is there a way to determine interior condition to estimate repairs? I think our PDP talks a little bit about some estimated costs, estimated retail values. However, what I've seen from other investors in the past, they'll utilize if the property was ever on the MLS to kind of get an idea of what interior might have looked like at the time. Looking at the market in your particular area, this is where a local expert would possibly be quite handy to understand what other trades are running at this time, what are construction costs, rehab costs, materials running in your particular area. That kind of helps. Some investors talk about the 3 areas that they look at is foundation, roof, kitchen in terms of budgeting. Around what you look willing to spend on that, because those are the main things in terms of flipping that people like to look at. Hope that helped. Again, as Renee mentioned, gaining access or getting keys, because this is a foreclosure or legal foreclosure that has taken place, you will not get keys. This will require you to get the property rekeyed if you're declared the winning bidder once you have full possession of the property. Full possession is defined as the title is now in your name or your entity. Florida. There are Florida. I want to say some county, like 85% of Florida is online, so it is conducted through the county. But to your point, there are certain counties that are conducted by the trustee, or you see auction.com conducting the sale. They're usually the smaller ones, smaller counties around the state. I don't believe that they are due to anything different. It's just they haven't went online yet. So they will have an opportunity for either a trustee to go cry the sale for them, or auction.com. When is a bank auctioning and how is it different? Most often when you see the bank-owned properties, which is kind of what at the beginning of this webinar, it is already gone through the legal foreclosure process. So no one won it when it went to foreclosure at the foreclosure sale. So if it did not, it reverted back to the beneficiary. And in this case, the beneficiary is the bank who originally provided the mortgage. And so that's where you see them again, where it's a bank-owned property, or the bank is conducting the REO, so they can try to recoup their cost from the original loan.
Well, you can watch this webinar video again once we send out the recording link. I'm trying to get all those questions answered. I do see a question about asking, is remote bid available for courthouse auctions? Yes, remote bid really changes nothing about the auction location except for where you are. So you can just join the auction from your phone or from desktop if you set up that purchase profile and approved to remote bid. Remote bidding allows you to remote into those courthouse auctions. I do see a question about accessing the property before you receive the deed in the mail. Unfortunately, deed execution does take some time. You've got execution through the auctioneer and the county as well. So waiting 30 to 45 days is just part of the dance that we do with foreclosure auctions. You're really not legally the owner until that deed has been executed and recorded with the county. And do know that some firms take less time, so you may receive it before that window.
There was a question just of kind of go further details on due diligence. Due diligence, we tried to keep it kind of open because it is a lot. It's one, understanding the auction itself, what's expected of you as a potential bidder or participant at the auction, to understand the liens that are on there. That's where you have that is where you need to try to get title information. You can look at public record data, so that would be the notice. You can look at notice of defaults to try to understand what was first lent on the property. You can understand also through county records or public information what liens are on the property. It's a lot of details in that, which is why we kind of kept it open, because you can check with local title companies, get preliminary title. I think there was a question around, do we have preliminary title reports? Sometimes on the PDP in the due diligence section, you will see if the lender gave it to us. We will try to provide as much information as we can about the property to assist you in your first steps of due diligence. However, it's challenging because, again, as we mentioned, we aren't the seller. We don't determine the prices, and we are getting our information from the lender, from the trustee, a lot of times in fragmented areas. So if you save the property, as we get updated information about a particular property, you're going to get it pretty much in real time as well. But the parts around due diligence, whatever we have, we will try to get it out to you so you can make a best and informed decision as quickly as possible. Can I have, David's covering that one, but there was a question around, can I have buyer's agent make bids on my behalf? You can have, it doesn't, because these are foreclosures, you don't necessarily have to have an agent represent you. You have an agent, you can have a representative. I take that back. There are some states that do require certain agents to represent you on their behalf. But yes, short answer is yes. Make sure you check the state that you're interested in and make sure you have a good understanding of what participation requirements are.
See a question about a minimal price the lender is willing to accept. Typically, these legal proceedings are going to require the debt that the homeowner has incurred. The homeowner is in default for that amount of debt. So there is no minimum percentage that the lender is willing to accept. You'll need to be at least above that credit bid amount that the homeowner owed. And the lenders, either it will be sold to the winning bidder for over that credit bid amount, or it will be sold back to the bank, or we also call that reverted back to the lender. And you will get a copy of the training. Don't forget, you'll get that tomorrow, right, Kelly?
Yes. We'll get that tomorrow. I have a question on, can you explain how outbid works? There are some states, now I'm going to use North Carolina, for example, so that have what is called an outbid period, which means you participated out of auction, and other bidders have a chance to outbid your bid. And there is a certain amount of time that outbid period takes place. Again, this kind of falls in making sure you understand the statutory requirements of a foreclosure in your state of interest. But using North Carolina as the example, you have what is called a 10-day outbid period. So if you participated at the auction in North Carolina, you won, you were declared a provisional winner. Now, others who might have not had a chance to attend that auction has a chance to go to the county of that, where that property is located, and place an outbid, either $750 at minimum above yours, or 5%, whichever one is greater. There is a outbid tracker you can sign up for with auction.com that will give you the previous week's outbids that were placed. So you will need a SP number to track what that property is. That's usually created by the attorney firm, and it tracks who all outbid and what was the last outbid. If all bidding has stopped and in the 10 days, well, let me kind of go back. If someone outbids you, the 10 days starts again until all bids have stopped. So if no one has bid in another 10 days and you so happen to outbid the last bid and you won, you will then receive confirmation from the trustee that you now are the winning bidder, and here will your next steps be to secure the sale. So that's kind of a little bit about the outbid period. I hope that helps. But if you'd like a little bit more information, you can visit our website, email the buyer success team, tell us what state you're interested in, and we'll try to look and get you some more information about it. The upset amount. So upset amount in terms of sheriff sales, you might hear that term if you've attended a sheriff sale, still being part of a foreclosure. That means similar to the credit bid amount that Renee went over. So the upset amount is the amount that you need to be above to win. You'll hear the sheriff sometimes say what the upset amount is. So they might say, and I'm going to keep it very general, they'll say the upset amount is $100,000. You need to be above $100,000 in order for the sheriff to declare you the winning bidder. That applies also if we're conducting the sale as well. If you hear an auctioneer say the upset amount equals the same thing as the credit bid. Hope that helped.
One question about cashier's check. Should I purchase the cashier's check payable to myself or auction.com? Each property detail page will specify to whom the cashier's check must be made. So check that property details page for that payment information. A lot of questions on liens and HOA fees and cloud on title, clear title. In many cases, title is free and clear, but that's why we recommend due diligence and contacting that real estate professional, that title agent, because the title company will be able to pull that information from you when you pull the title report.
Things to look out for when it comes to live auctions, things to listen for. If you're attending them, we highly recommend go visit some auctions. Just be a guest. They're public sales, so no one's going to turn you away. You're more than welcome. There are a lot of times outside. Most of them that we're familiar with are outside, and so they are there no matter what the elements look like. We just had last week with the hurricanes. That is a time where we're still having to try to navigate with the counties to try to understand what is going on. Can we get there? Can we not? We are working as diligently as possible, especially during natural disasters. Will we have to still conduct that sale? So things to look out for is, one, save the property, because you'll get updates as quickly as we possibly can get them out to you, so you can see that. Understand the foreclosure process in the states that you're interested in. You can learn, you can also filter on our website for properties that will list the credit bid or the upset bid. So you can find some of those properties already to kind of help you where you need to be. If you see the opening bid amounts with change on them, a lot of times that is your total, that's your where they're opening up at, that's probably the total debt that's left on that property. Not all the time, but I would say 95% of the time. That's one way to look for what does the bank want on it. If it's a very finite number, then that's kind of pretty much that's the debt that's left. Some of the total debt information that you see on PDPs will help you as well to kind of get an indicator that this is where the lender is going to land when they get ready to determine the credit bid. Since the credit bid doesn't come from us, it comes from that lender. That is the debt plus the fees and everything that it took for them to take this to foreclosure that's included, which sometimes changes. So when you see an opening bid amount might show one day this, they haven't finished doing all of their research before they actually have cleared it and decided like, okay, now the debt is this. But those are some ways to kind of look for it. We still recommend follow the auctions. They move fairly quickly. So it is something that you can just go to any one of them. That we have people in Team Green. If you see anybody with the auction.com logo, go ask them a question. We're all here to help to see to it that you're successful. I think with that, we have so many more questions here, and we would love to try to continuously address them, and we will. Feel free, as Renee mentioned, to email buyersuccess@auction.com. You can call us, you can hit us on the chat, and any one of our specialists will be more than happy to assist you.
Thank you again for attending today's session. We really hope that we've clarified some of your additional questions. Keep in mind, due diligence is the responsibility of the bidder. That will help you understand any liens, any back HOA fees that have accrued. Make sure that you're talking to that title agent to understand everything in store. Ask them this question. Hi, I'm buying a property with auction.com. What can I expect as the new owner? And they should be able to break it down for you. But we're here to answer any questions for you specifically about the process and the platform. And we've got a great platform with a lot of great tools, and we're always available to support you here. So send your questions if they were not addressed today to buyersuccess@auction.com. Get in touch with one of our buyer success specialists. It's a great team. Or live chat directly on our site. So thanks again for joining us, and have a great rest of your day.